be here. I actually asked who was not going to be here, and no one responded. But I know that Councilor Norton is out of the country, so she told me she wasn't going to be here. Okay, Councilor Crossley is here. So we have a quorum now, and it's 7 o'clock. So why don't we get started? So good evening. My name is Allison Leary, City Councilor from Ward 1 and Chair of the committee. And joining me first at the beginning of the meeting, I will introduce the committee. I have Councilor Andrea Kelly at large from Ward 3, Vice Chair of the committee David Kalis at large from Ward 8, Deborah Crossley at large from Ward 5, and I believe that's everybody at this point. And I see we are joined by Joanne, who is going to introduce our first item. And we also are joined by Jason Sobel, our Director of Transportation, who will be discussing the second item. So Joanne, why don't we get started with item 255-23. It's a grant of location on Boylston Street.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Eversource is seeking a grant of location to at 27 Boylston Street to relocate a sub-pole 3 feet west of its current location. And this is for the new development that's going on in that area. They're making some renovations to that area, the buildings there.
Okay, and they're installing conduit as well, right? New conduit.
Not to my knowledge. This is strictly just to move the pole. Now, if they're doing conduit, it's not us.
Okay, well then there's a discrepancy because in our packet, it said Eversource Energy is petitioning for a grant of location to install 1,350 feet plus or minus of conduit east of Hammond Pond Parkway and relocate pole 418-8S approximately 3 feet west of the current location.
That could be my mistake. If you bear with me 1 second, let me look at the petition, please.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, the petition I have is just for the pole, to relocate the pole.
So I would suggest that maybe we not vote on this item and postpone it. I don't know, is it time sensitive?
It is. I know the developer wants it done yesterday. Can we take a 2-minute break and let me check something else out? Can I?
Well, we are going to start discussing the Elliott Street traffic calming, and that could be a longer discussion.
Okay. I'd honestly, for this, I don't mind coming at the end of that. I'll wait.
You wait?
Because
okay.
Yeah, this is important. So I need to make sure it's more than just the poll. What I have in front of me is just the poll, but I want to be certain.
Yes, we want to make sure we know what we're voting on and that you come back with a specific request that matches that was put in our packet as part of the public.
Okay. So yes, if the council will grant me, I'll come behind the next item.
Okay. Does anyone go ahead?
I just wanted to confirm that the petition that we did receive from Eversource did say did add the 1,350 feet of conduit. So that's the petition we received on NewGov with the relocation of the pole.
Okay. Is there any other comments from any member of the committee? Councilor Crossley.
Madam Chair, I'll move to lay the item on the table.
Okay. Okay. So is that something we have to vote on, or can I just agree to that?
We normally vote on laying
Okay.
something on the table.
And I would like to also say Councilor Vicky Danberg at large from Ward 6 has joined the committee, as well as Councilor Laredo at large from Ward 7. So Councilor Crossley has made a motion to lay item 255-23 on the table while the petitioner confirms the information, and we will move on to the second item. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any absent? Okay. Any nays? Any abstentions? Okay. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Joanne. We'll come back to you.
Perfect.
So next item is 134-23. Her Honor, the Mayor requesting the approval to make changes to roadway infrastructure as part of the Elliott Street traffic calming project in Newton Upper Falls. This is the installation of a new crosswalk with flashing beacon, intersection realignment changes to the roadway width, and creation of a sidewalk level bike lane requires the approval of the Public Facilities Committee. And we last discussed this on May 17th, and it was held 8-0. So, Mr. Sobel, are you going to be presenting this item?
Yes, I will be.
Okay, thank you very much.
Uh,
And one more thing, I just want to say that we've been joined by Councilor Alicia Bowman at large from Ward 6, not a member of the committee, but very welcome.
And me from Ward 5.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you. Councilor Andrea Downs at large from Ward 5 has also joined us. Thank you.
Thank you, councilors, for having me back this evening. As Councilor Leary just summarized, I was last here presenting this project on May 17th. And it is a traffic calming project, the goals of which are to improve safety for everyone, reduce vehicle speeds on Elliott Street, improve pedestrian accessibility and connectivity, and maintain an improved space for bicyclists. Since I was here on May 15th discussing it with you folks, we held a well-attended community meeting on June 22nd. There was approximately 30 people in attendance. Certainly a lot of interested residents and folks sharing their thoughts with us, as well as staff from planning, DPW, Parks and Rec. We had Assistant Fire Chief Mike Bianchi attended, as well as Captain Doucette from Newton Police, the Traffic Bureau. In addition to the city staff, all 3 Ward 5 councilors were in attendance as well, Councilor Downs, Crossley, and Humphrey. So we received a lot of good feedback at that meeting, and it was a healthy discussion. Since that time, based in direct response on the feedback that we've received, we've made a few modifications. So I will share my screen. This revised concept was in your packet, I think in the revised packet that Evan sent out. And there were 2 primary changes to the concept. If councilors would like, I could walk through the entire project. I was planning to just focus on the changes since the community meeting. So the 2 primary changes are that we, on the northeastern end of the project, again, to orient everyone, the central part of the project is the intersection with Mechanic Street. And the original concept that we had presented had a proposed crosswalk and RRFB between Cottage Street and Wetherall. And we've now proposing to shift that proposed crosswalk to the east side of Wetherall. Primarily due to sightlines. The original proposed location on the west side of Wetherall did meet minimum and actually exceed minimum site distances, but certainly the sight lines are better the farther you go from the curve. And that seemed like there was broad community consensus that was a preferred location. The downside of that is that there's a mature 14-inch ash tree on the north side of Elliott Street that we will have to very likely remove during construction of the bump out and accessible ramp there. There's a small possibility that we'll be able to maintain that tree, but we're anticipating that we'll have to remove it. And then of course we'll work closely with our design consultant and along with Mark Welch, the city's tree warden, to identify other locations in the area to plant new trees. The other change that again was based directly on feedback from residents is a 12-inch wide rumble strip along the double yellow center line. So this is literally going to be into the asphalt, grooves in the asphalt that the double yellow center lines will be painted on top of. We did have a pretty healthy discussion at the community meeting about rumble strips versus scored concrete islands, which we've used elsewhere, including up at the Elliott Route 9 intersection. Unfortunately, in this area, there isn't really roadway width for scored concrete islands, even if they're flush. Certainly not without pinching bicyclists. So the 12-inch wide rumble strip is right along the double yellow. It doesn't take up any more roadway width. And certainly not a comfortable thing to drive over, that the drivers will tend to slow down and avoid, so they won't be crossing that double yellow. And we are being thoughtful about this. One of the concerns we heard with rumble strips are that drivers tend to avoid them because they're not comfortable to drive over, and therefore might shy away from the center line and pinch bicyclists. So in this proposed design, we're only proposing to do the rumble strip in the areas where we have the raised sidewalk level bike lanes around the curve. So in that way, vehicles won't be able to infringe or encroach and squeeze bikes around that corner. So those were the two primary changes, and the focus of a lot of discussion at the community meeting. Certainly, as we progress beyond the concept stage into design, we'll be working closely with the fire department and Assistant Chief Mike Bianchi, as well as Safety Officer Lieutenant Bourgeois, on exact design details and lane widths. But they're generally supportive of this project as well. And at the end of the community meeting, we did get a lot of positive feedback and a desire to move to the next step and move this project forward. So with that, unless Councillor Leary, you'd like me to walk through all aspects of the project, I think we'll open it up to questions and discussion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sobel. So if you could stop sharing your screen for a minute, just so I can see everybody.
Sure.
I see hands up. So first of all, I would like to ask if there's members of the committee that would like to have a complete review of the, okay, that's fine. So I'm going to go to Councillor Laredo, followed by Councillor Crossley.
Thank you, Mr. Sobel, and thank you for presenting the revisions. Were the folks who were in attendance at the community meeting notified about tonight's meeting?
I believe so.
I can answer that. Yes, I sent it out.
I'm sorry, Councillor Downs, did you say you sent it out?
Yes.
Yeah, I emailed them.
Okay. And did you have a follow-up? Have the folks who were at the meeting, have they seen these revised plans and an opportunity to comment on them?
I know we've.
I also sent out the revised plans.
All right, great. Thank you, Councillor Downs. That's super.
And Councillor Laredo, if I may just clarify, I have not received any feedback, positive or negative, on the revised plans.
And when did they go out? If I could ask Councillor Downs, when did that go out to folks?
I sent them out, I think it was Monday. Do you
Of this
remember?
week?
Do you remember, Mr. Sobel? Yeah, because I read the packet, or was it Sunday? Anyway, I think it was Monday, because we had to get the revisions from Mr. Sobel.
Okay, so they've had them for a couple of days at least and knew about the meeting, which is.
Yeah, we've done some back and forth on email. They're generally pleased with the designs and feel heard.
And last question, Mr. Sobel, is there any increase in cost? And I'm not suggesting that would dissuade me from voting to approve this, but is there any increase in cost with these changes?
No, the rumble strip is in the asphalt, so it's not any new material or additional material. And the bump out design is very similar, just on the other side of Weatherall Street. So we're not expecting any additional costs.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. I'm all set, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Laredo. Councillor Crossley?
Thank you. I'm glad to hear the rumble strip is of the asphalt material. I was having that discussion with Counselor Downs the other day. I think sometimes it's made of cement, which I suppose is more durable, but I wanted to make sure in case we had issues with the rumble strip, as you had earlier noted, if people traverse them, they are allowed. As we know from traversing them on the highway, I'm sure everyone's experienced that. So, but this is what the community wanted. I wonder, the 14, I'm not concerned about the removal of an ash tree in order to make this crossing safer. Also, as we know, the ash trees are under assault from the ash borer and are dying like crazy throughout the woods in New England. This tree should be checked for that in any case. Not to say we shouldn't be replanting trees, we absolutely should. But I assume that Mark Welch hasn't been out to examine the tree yet. Is that correct?
Councillor Crossley, that is not entirely accurate. I did have an email correspondence with Mark Welch and asked him to take a preliminary look. He did mention the ash borer is affecting a large number of trees, and he said that this one is an exception and has not yet
Okay.
been attacked by an ash borer.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. And I was also going to ask about the cost. Do you have the slide that delineates the cost for the various proposals? It didn't seem to me like it should cost any more except for the taking down and replacement of the tree. And maybe I read the list incorrectly when I put the two pieces together, because it wasn't clear to me how to read the list with this new plan. And the consultant is still recommending, the consultant revised their report, but is still recommending the previous recommendation. They're sticking with their story. So
Councillor Crossley, if I may clarify,
sure.
I think this may just be due to clerical error. The memo that was attached in the packet attached to the agenda was the same original memo from the early spring. The only new information was the revised concept. This was an option that the consultant had evaluated it and looked at, and the initial recommendation was to place the crosswalk on the other side of Weatherall on the west side to avoid impacting the tree. And although it's not 100% consistent with that original recommendation, we heard loud and clear from the community a strong preference for the
Yes.
crosswalk on the other side.
I totally agree, and I think that is, a worthy change and makes sense. It appeared to me that the report was modified, but I didn't realize they had examined that option earlier, because they talked about it not being as desirable because it doesn't follow a desire line, which actually was confusing to me because it's not one of the places that has a well-used pathway to the Greenway, as does the one at Columbia or the one at Linden. So that's it. I was thinking about this a lot between the community meeting, which I agree with you went extremely well. People were very clear about the couple of things they were concerned about. And thank you for doing that. All
Thank
set.
you. Thank you, Councillor Crossley. And I just want to say that we've also been joined by Councillor Humphrey, at Ward Councillor from Ward 5. So I'm going to go to Councillor Kelly and then followed by Councillor Downs.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree. I was not at that community meeting, but I think moving that crosswalk to the other side is definitely a safer thing. It's a little further from where people might want to cross, but the sight lines are much better there. And like Councillor Crossley, I'm not that concerned about an ash. of all the trees we have to be concerned about, that's not one that I would most prioritize preserving, but I understand that you will try. You know, if you can save it, you can save it, and I'm glad it doesn't have ash borer yet. My concerns are really more around the width of the roadway along that curve. So the change has been the 12-inch wide rumble strip that is going down the middle, which means, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Sobel, that either side, east or westbound, can use that as part of their wider roadway width? Because originally it was 11 feet wide, which many of us felt was too narrow, particularly for some larger trucks, possibly even fire trucks, though I know you've checked with the fire department. So in a way, that rumble strip might make either side of the road have like a 12-foot wide turning radius versus 11. Is that a correct way of understanding this change?
I don't think that that's the best way to understand it. It's visually, as you're driving, it will be difficult to notice. These are grooves in the asphalt. When you see them along the side of a highway, they're generally set maybe a foot offset from the shoulder line.
Mm-hmm.
What we're proposing is to install the rumble strip along the center of the road and then paint the double yellow line directly on top of that rumble strip.
Right.
So the lane width, the perception of it and the actual width of the lane doesn't change at all as a result of this proposed rumble strip.
Except that they can be driving over the rumble strip if it's a wide vehicle. For instance, we were talking last time in that May meeting about the actual width of many vehicles, including mirrors, not just the width of the body of the vehicle, but when the mirrors are out is wider than 11 feet. So with that rumble strip, it seems to me that there's a little more room for particularly the driver's side mirror to overlap on that. Am I still not visualizing this properly?
It's I mean, I believe it was an effective width of 10.5 feet, not more than 11 feet for any vehicle, even a wide truck, an MBTA bus or a fire truck. Generally, we have 10.5 foot effective widths of those vehicles.
Does that include the
Um,
mirrors?
Yes,
Okay.
and so any vehicle can drive over this rumble strip, just like any vehicle could drive over a double yellow center line. And the idea with the rumble strip is that it's going to strongly discourage that behavior.
Okay. I understand it better now. So nothing has been widened at all since May. So there is still a concern for some people who aren't sure that this is really a wide enough curve for large vehicles to be passing safely on. But you, who's a transportation planner, believe it is.
That's correct. And we did have conversations with Assistant Chief Mike Bianchi at the fire department, both at the public meeting and an email exchange afterwards. And we work closely with the fire department in all of our project designs, and we will be 100% sure that they are comfortable with the proposed travel lane widths.
Are there other large vehicles or trucks that travel on this section of Elliott Street?
Well, there certainly could be. Right now, it is an MBTA bus route. That may be changing in the future. And as you know, this connects up to Route 9, and there's no truck restriction. So certainly there could be large vehicles traveling on Elliott Street.
That's what I thought. I think that's why it was a concern that we raised in May. Okay, that's enough clarification for me for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Kelly. Councillor Downs, followed by Councillor Humphrey.
Hi, everyone. Just wanted to let you know that, I was at that community meeting. The community concerns were both heard And the design was explained, and that this is something that they unanimously supported, as do I. The size of the travel lanes, again, is something that the fire department is comfortable with. There are streets all around the region that are even narrower, that are traversed by fire trucks and regular trucks. The whole point of traffic calming is to reduce the perceived width of the road to discourage speeding. And that is exactly what we're doing here, and in the process also making it much safer for cyclists, pedestrians, and a number of school children who cross this street as well. So Ward 5 is behind it, and we hope you'll support us on that. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Downs. Councillor Humphrey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I agree completely, obviously, with what Councillor Downs just said. And, you know, if she hadn't said that about the lane widths, I would have said it as well. This is a hugely important project, you know, for this particular neighborhood, but I think is one of these types of projects that's going to have a lot of benefits for everyone else who ever has to drive through this, whether they live there or not. And making it a safer design is going to be the only thing that gets the speeds down in reality. You know, we could post any number of speed signs we wanted and it wouldn't change anything, but making some design changes is going to be really key. And I really appreciate the work that the department did on reaching out to folks and getting public input and suggestions, because things like the rumble strip in the middle, that was a suggestion that largely came from the public, and it was a fantastic idea. And it's going to make this a lot safer of a project than what was originally proposed, and certainly what was, you know, what's there now. So I'm really excited to see this project go forward, and I think it's a great use of our traffic calming resources. So thanks again for putting this together and for taking the public feedback on that, and we really appreciate this in Ward 5 and Upper Falls specifically. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Humphrey. And if I may just weigh in, I'm in full support of the project. I'm very pleased about the outreach and work that went into it. I think it's a model for us going forward in terms of community engagement and a thoughtful project that's looked over by multiple city bodies that are involved, from the fire department, from the police, to Parks and Recreation, to the public, to neighbors, and to transport and to TAG. I think it's the work really paid off here, and I'm in full support. So thank you very much for all your work. I don't see any other hands up. Is there someone from Ward 5 who may like to make a motion to approve?
Yes, I would. Sorry, hit the wrong button. Yes, of course
Okay.
I would. Motion.
That was a dramatic pause.
Yeah, right. Sorry. Motion to enthusiastically approve.
Okay, thank you. There's a motion to approve from Councillor Crossley. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Are there any abstentions?
I'll abstain, Andrea.
Okay.
So
Councillor
much.
Kelly- Councillor Kelly and Kalis are abstaining. Okay. And please note that 2 councillors are absent, Norton and Gentile, at this item. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, the item does pass. We're going to go back to item 255-23, the Eversource petition for a grant of location on Boylston Street that we just laid on the table a little bit earlier.
Motion to take it off the table.
So there's a motion from Councillor Crossley to take it off the table. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions, any nays? Now we just have to see if Joanne is with us.
I am here, yes.
Okay,
And I just pulled up the engineer's sketch to confirm whether or not there's conduit. Just one more second here.
okay.
This is unbelievable to me. I apologize.
Yeah, usually you guys get it right, so I'm surprised
Yes.
if there's some discrepancy here.
I am struggling. This is,
we can take up our last item and give you a few more minutes.
Oh,
if you-
yes, please.
Okay,
Thank
So-
you.
a motion, may I have a motion to put this back on the table?
So moved.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Let's go to the item 254-23, which is the reappointment of Jonathan Cantor of 672 Chestnut Street to the Citizens Commission on Energy for a term of office to expire June 15th, 2026. Are there any questions, comments from the committee? I am not seeing any. Oh, Councilor Crossley, please go ahead.
Mr. Cantor is a Ward 5 resident and he's awesome in his service on 3 city committees. I move his approval for reappointment.
Thank you very much. I will just add that I've known Mr. Cantor since elementary school and I really admire his work. And I also wholeheartedly support his reappointment. So there's a motion to approve. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any abstentions? Any nays? Okay, that's approved unanimously. So I'm going to go back to our now last item, the Eversource Energy petition for a grant of location on Boyle Street. It's item 255-23. Is there a motion to put it back on the table?
So moved.
So moved. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's go ahead. So Joanne, we're ready when you are.
Yes, and honestly, I thank you guys for being so patient with me this evening, but I cannot confirm the conduit. I searched high and low in every system and I don't see that. I only see the pole.
So I think what we could do is put this on second call for our city council meeting. Cassidy, can you remind me when our next city council meeting is?
So the next city council meeting, sorry, let me just look at the calendar, is August 14th.
August 14th is when we could next hear this. I was not planning on having a public facilities meeting in August.
Madam Chair, can I offer a suggestion? Could you have
Please.
a meeting of public facilities, maybe 15 minutes early before the meeting on the 14th? I don't think we need another full meeting on this, but I, for one, I'm not comfortable voting on something when I don't know what I'm voting for.
Right, excellent suggestion, Councilor Laredo. So Councilor Laredo has made a suggestion that we meet 15 minutes early on August 15th, prior to our next city council meeting.
I think it's the 14th, Madam
The
Chair.
I'm sorry, the 14th? Okay,
I apologize, Councilor Leary. Finance may be meeting before then because we have a number of grants that need to be accepted. So I believe there will be a finance meeting before the August 14th city council meeting.
Get a quorum without members of.
We have Councilors Norton and Gentile
Okay.
Kalis.
on finance, I think, right?
Yeah.
And Kalis too,
And me.
sorry, Councilor
Kalis.
Kalis.
Yep.
You can be in 2 places at once. I can't speak for the other.
Sometimes.
But really only.
Madam
need
Chair,
one-
maybe do it like, just so we don't all have to come back for a meeting for 15 minutes, however you and the Chair of Finance want to work it, I suggest we try to do that.
okay, why don't we work it out, Cassidy, with the finance committee?
Okay.
About, and then I can get back to the committee on, if we need, if we're gonna, when we're gonna meet and how we're gonna meet. So why don't, I would entertain a motion to hold this item.
I'll move to hold.
Okay, there's a hold by Councilor Laredo. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, any abstentions, any nays? Okay. Okay, Cassie, why don't, can you stay on for a few minutes with me, just so that we can talk about this a little bit more in detail, and then I'll get back to the committee with, with our next steps for this item.
Yes. We'll see.
Okay. Okay, well, our business is concluded for this evening, and I hope everyone enjoys the rest of this, the summer, and until next time, our next city council meeting or our next public facilities meeting, whenever that may be.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Council.
you.
Thank
you.
See
you.
later.
Have a good
Good night,
night.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Okay. So